Welcome to Symmons Plains and round 2 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Well, the weatherman has delivered a bonus here today for spectators. Gone are yesterday's showers and we have a fine and mild afternoon with a top temperature of 21 degrees. Well, the Symmons Plains circuit is located 30 km south of Launceston. It measures 2.41 kilometres and is very fast, but also very hard on brakes. Well, Australian champion Jim Richards has pole for today's event. But not everything has come up roses for Team Nissan overnight. And with the latest on that, we say good afternoon to Neil Crompton.
Yes, Mike, a difficult time for at least one of the Nissans yesterday. Mark Scaife speared off at the end of the back straight, leapt into the mud. There were bits flying everywhere. What happened?
Mate, all I did is I turned into the big fast right-hander down the back straight, and the left-hand front disc brake rotor exploded. Cut the wheel in half, sent the tyre flat and speared off down through the paddock. So it's a pretty wild ride.
Here's how the top 10 lines up today. Jim Richards in the Nissan GTR pole position and starting alongside Win Percy in the Holden Racing Commodore. From 3, it's 30, Glenn Seaton in the Peter Jackson Sierra. 4, 17, Dick Johnson, the Shell Sierra. From 5, Colin Bond in the Caltech Sierra. Out of position number 605, Peter Brock in the Mobile Commodore. From 7, it's 18, John Bow in the second Shell car. From position 8, number 11, Larry Perkins, the second of the Mobile Commodores. From 9, 28, Kevin Waldock, and rounding out the 10, Tony Longhurst in the Benson and Hedges BMW M3. There's Jimmy Richards with Win Percy in the new VN Holden Commodore alongside. And starting position number 13, dead last in the field today, Mark Scaife, who came to grief yesterday. Watch the Nissan, it gets off. Win Percy tries to go with it on the inside. And also a great start from Glenn Seaton in the Peter Jackson Sierra as they come beneath the Dunlop Bridge. And Richards away very smartly indeed. And I think it was Dick Johnson who got the best start of them all, and he's right behind the Nissan as they go up into the hairpin. Now it'll be Richards trying to stretch it now down through the sweeper section of the racetrack as they come down here. Dickie Johnson running in second. Win Percy back in third. Fourth is Glenn Seaton, then Colin Bond. And it looks like Peter Brock also dropping out of the draft as they come tearing down the back straight here into the left-hander at Coca-Cola corner. And just look at Dick Johnson doing a good job staying in touch with the Nissan.
Tremendous start from Richards, as expected with the four-wheel drive car, but Dick Johnson came from nowhere. Blitzed Win Percy off the line, who made an initially good jump, but then slowed a little as he tried to get it away. And this is Dunlop Racecam, the business end of the Ford Sierra, chasing the Nissan GTR, end of one lap. Jim Richards leads from Dick Johnson, Win Percy in third position in the HRT Commodore, then Glenn Seaton in fourth, and Johnson up on the outside, challenging the Nissan at the hairpin.
Now he'll try and pull it back on the inside, get the run out of the turn. Richards out of there smartly. Johnson grabs another gear as we take Dunlop Racecam, working down to the right-hand kink in the sweeper here at Symmons Plains. They're starting to run away just a little from the field. Richards, Johnson, that is the order. Then Win Percy under siege from Glenn Seaton in the Peter Jackson Sierra. Next is John Bow, followed by Colin Bond. Coca-Cola corner, Richards, the pole man in the Nissan GTR. Scaife up to 8th position after starting out of 13. He still has a lot of traffic to pass because Scaife is trying to find a way past John Bow, and Bow was so incredibly fast here yesterday in the second session. It was really a disappointment to him that he didn't wind up with second quick time yesterday. Beneath the Dunlop Bridge, let's see whether Scaife can pull it this time in sheer acceleration. Bow just creases the guardrail using the wide exit to that turn. No, he can't. He's caught in behind this Sierra. Oh, Glenn Seaton getting the short back and sides. Bow spins it.
Deary me.
Well, that's taken the pressure off Win Percy, who, as Mark pointed out earlier on, has certainly got the bit between his teeth this weekend, starting off the front row in the Holden Commodore. Bow is restarted, underway again, a little damage to the front left, and now Scaife has passed Seaton, and Win Percy having skipped away just a little bit.
Mark Scaife's teammate Jim Richards, according to our lap charts, has just broken the lap record. He's just done a 56.84, which cleans up Alan Jones' standing record of 56.96 in the Sierra last year.
Here's Scaife looking once again. Again, the Commodore has the edge into the turn. The Nissan has the edge coming out, but also the real estate is being soaked up by the Commodore, so it's not allowing Mark to get his car into the position he wants. He can't use the road on the exit that he'd like to, so that means he's making a slower exit.
Look at this.
The two of them are very close at the hairpin. Percy's in the box seat. Scaife having to go the hard way round. Can he switch back to the inside? Look at the Nissan, the way it grabs the road. Now he gets into position. If he can hold this when they get down to the other end, it'll be looking good. This is a tremendous scrap.
This must be very heartening for the HRT boys. This Commodore's virtually a brand new car and it's running head-to-head with the Nissan for a few laps. This augurs well for the future.
This is door-to-door stuff too.
Fantastic racing.
There's not much Wynn can do about it because Scaife has been able to put the right number on him. And what we were saying earlier about the car being able to put its power down out of the turns, you'll never see better evidence of it than that pass on Wynn Percy. As Neil said, Wynn was using a little bit of the real estate and then some, driving defensively. So, the order of the race, Jim Richards leading, Dickie Johnson running in second spot, and now the second of the Nissan GTRs up to third with Mark Scaife. Pretty heady stuff this, side by side through the sweeper. And Bow making a big run down the outside here. Has he got him? Yes, he has. We take our race cam to see John Bow. Takes Peter Brock. So Bow now advances to 7th in the pack after dropping back to 12th position in the field. Great drive from John Bow. Brock, in the meantime, continues on in the 05 car, and he's got Larry Perkins right behind him. Then the first of the Benson and Hedges cars. Is our race leader, Jimmy Richards.
Peter, just watching your footwork here, it's very interesting at the end. We can see the heel and toe and a bit of double to clutching down to first. Just explain your way around the circuit for us.
Okay, first gear here, half throttle now. Now I can flatten it. I'm in second gear. I'm going to rev limit to 7/8. Up to 4th now. I use all the road here to save the tyres. And you can see I'll get across the apex here. We're doing about 240 k's at the moment. Brakes on now. Back to second now. I'm trying to use everything I can to stop. Well, the brakes are very good, but I'm trying to sort of maintain a bit of brakes towards the end of the race because, boy, it's the hardest race I've seen. Third gear around there. Up to here, brakes on. Back to second, just let it float down. Keep it straight, cross the apex, and don't oversteer here, which I'm trying very hard not to. And in second gear, third gear up to here. Fourth. And a little bit of fifth about now, and then put the brakes on and just hope we've got them all.
The second spot is about to be debated between Dickie Johnson and Mark Scaife. Scaife, of course, has made a huge run in the last couple of laps, and here he is closing on Dick Johnson as they come up to the hairpin. Been a tremendous performance from the young Central Coast driver after going off yesterday in what could have been an awful accident. Nissan team are back. They've rebuilt the car, started off the back. Here's second place. Scaife working down the outside of Dickie Johnson. The GTR goes through and takes second place away from Dick Johnson, who fights to keep the inside running for the next turn. Can he do it? Or will he let the GTR go? No, he'll fight for it probably. Side by side out of this turn, but the Nissan will get the power on much quicker. Came across the front of Dick as well.
Good scrap here with Colin Bond in the Caltex Ford Sierra being attacked by the BMW. Aren't they fabulous under brakes? Tony Longhurst goes through, and Longhurst doing again to the field what he did at Sandown, and that's just running consistently and picking them off one by one as they start to smoulder. Gee, Wynn's closed right up now on Johnson, who's probably starting to find himself running a little thin on rubber. The difficult thing with the Sierra is the tyres on the car are so narrow, and the car has so much horsepower, and there's a lot of real stop-and-go corners on this track which promote wheel spin on the exit, and the tyres do not like that as Dick locks up the rears and spins.
Yeah.
Locked up his rear brakes, heading into the hairpin, and backs around. He'll be cursing and swearing. Wynn Percy skates through to third place as Dick tries to do 100 mile an hour backwards.
Well, he's going to try and whip it around and then catch it again and get going.
Oh.
Well, if he had tyre problems before, I think he's...
That cooled him down.
I'll be happy when it's all over, Mike. It's been a pretty heavy weekend with Mark having an off yesterday in the car. But it's going well now and hope it keeps going that way.
And gee, got problems. Wynn Percy.
Yeah, just took third place, and here he is slowing down on the back straight.
We've now got Glenn Seaton molesting Dick Johnson.
Johnson's going for tyres.
Yep.
So Seaton to third, Johnson to the pits for some rubber. Percy stranded past the hairpin. And a real mixed bag. We've got Nissans clearing out from the pack. Yep.
Order is Richards over Scaife. Glenn Seaton now moving into third. And that would probably move Tony Longhurst up into 4th.
There you go, the BMs, they're doing it again.
Yep, he's put on a good show today. Win Percy got the Holden up on the front row. Long walk back here at Symmons Plains to the pits.
So the shell car splits the 2 mobile entries, and this is the battle for 6th, 7th and 8th. So the order: Jim Richards the leader from Mark Scaife. Glenn Seaton is in 3rd, then Longhurst Bond, and Dick Johnson passes Peter Brock to now move up into 5th. Brock is 6th, Perkins is 7th. Behind Perkins, Alan Jones 9th, Kevin Warlock 10th, John Bow coming back out of the pits and rejoining the fray. Then Mark Gibbs with Win Percy having retired, and there's the stricken car number 16 car off to the side of the road. Coming up to 49 minutes of racing, so we're getting very close to checkered flag time.
We'll either have the checkered flag. These are timed races, 50-minute races. Depends how close they are to the 50-minute mark. This will either be the last corner, or they'll have one more lap to go after this. Checkered flag time, we believe. 1-2 at Symmons Plains for the Nissan GTR team as they take 1st and 2nd in round number 2. A fantastic 1-2 as well, and I think all credit must go to Freddie Gibson, certainly to Mark Scaife today after the problems of yesterday, to come off the back of the field, dispense with the Sierras, and then finish on the tail of his team leader Jim Richards in the run to the flag. And also great to see Glenn Seaton picking up a major placing 3rd. That'll put him on the rostrum here today for the Peter Jackson team. Equally a fine performance from Tony Longhurst finishing in 4th, and Dick Johnson will show in the 5th spot.
Similar tracks really, the first 2 rounds, Sandown and Symmons, but from here on in, tight and twisty stuff. The BMs will be looking good.
They will, as you know, as Tony was sort of keeping up with me towards the end, and that wasn't because I was letting him. That was because our car had done the job, and the tyres were getting a bit, a bit second hand. And so, come the shorter tracks, they're going to be real good.